In the world of college basketball, there was a time when only one tournament made headlines. It was fast, loud, and full of drama. But it always had one thing missing: women. For years, the women's tournament ran quietly in the background. The players trained just as hard. The games were just as fierce. But the world wasn't watching. In the early 1980s, the NCAA finally started a women's championship. Still, the gap was wide. The men's tournament had big arenas, sold-out crowds, and TV deals worth millions. The women's side got smaller gyms, lower pay, and barely any coverage. Players gave everything they had, but barely anyone outside their families noticed. Things didn't change overnight. In 2021, photos from the women's tournament went viral. The women's weight room was a single rack of dumbbells. The men's side had a full gym. The images sparked outrage. People demanded answers. Why was this happening in one of the biggest sports organizations in the world? The NCAA apologized, but the truth had already spread. People started asking bigger questions. Why weren't the women allowed to use the March Madness name like the men? Why were their games barely promoted? And most of all, why had it taken so long for anyone to care? Then something changed. New stars began to rise. Players like Caitlin Clark, Paige Bueckers, and Angel Reese drew huge crowds and even bigger numbers online. Their games were fast, skilled, and intense. Clips went viral. People started to pay attention, not just fans, but networks, sponsors, and young girls who saw themselves in those players. In 2022, the NCAA finally allowed the women's tournament to use the March Madness brand. It was a small step, but it sent a message. This wasn't a side event anymore. It was part of the main stage. But the fight wasn't over. Pay gaps still existed. TV slots were still uneven. Critics said the interest wasn't there, but the numbers told a different story. Viewership broke records, ticket sales rose, and when the 2023 and 2024 tournaments rolled in, people tuned in, not out. The games became battlegrounds, not just for scores, but for recognition. Every shot, every block, every buzzer beater meant something more. It wasn't just about winning a game. It was about proving that women's sports didn't need a spotlight handed to them. They just needed the world to look. And now March Madness isn't just a men's tradition. It's a name both tournaments share. It's a space where stories are written in real time. Some underdogs, some giants, and all of them fighting not just for a title, but for change.